Hey, good morning. Let's start. So today is brains in a vat. Putnam's article, brains in a vat, and the question: How do you know that the causes of your experience are what you take them to be? This is the classical philosophical problem of skepticism, and it really illustrates the general model that if you get the stuff that we've been talking about the theory of meaning, about the theory of reference, if you get that stuff right, then classical philosophical problems are dealt with very rapidly. So it's actually fairly straightforward to address skepticism, given the material we've had already. But I want to begin with another basic question that's really going to frame a lot of what we do in the next 3 weeks or so, which is reductionism about meaning. Explaining what meaning is in terms that don't presuppose meaning. Explaining how meaning can be part of the natural world. Because we've already made quite a lot of progress with that. Twin Earth cases are really very powerful for thinking about these issues. I just want to try and bring that out. So right back at the very first lecture in this class, I was talking about the question, what makes it so that words have meaning? There's one world, it's a physical world, there's nothing in it but lots of atoms and so on governed by physical laws. How does it come about in such a world that the signs have meaning? How does it come about that the words refer to objects? And surely the facts about meaning can't be primitive. The facts about meaning can't be irreducible facts about the world. They must be explainable in terms of more basic facts. We must be able to say how this phenomenon is happening, that there are sentences that are getting it right or wrong, that there is reference to objects. And if you say, well, of course, words have meaning because we associate mental images with them, or words have meaning because we give them meaning, our culture, our psychologies give them meaning. It's the mind that breathes life into language. That's a very natural idea, and it's anyone's first reaction, I think, to the question. But it really doesn't help, because if you raise the question, well, I can refer to the tree because I've got a mental image of a tree, then the next question is, how come your mental image is referring to the tree? How come you're able to think about the tree? And you just shuffle the problem one stage back if you appeal to the mind here. This is Putnam. Thought, words, and mental pictures do not intrinsically represent what they're about. That's to say, if you say, well, the word tree has the meaning it does because I associate a concept with it, some kind of word that runs through my head, well, how come that word that runs through your head stands for a tree? What's going on there? How did that happen? And similarly for mental pictures. And when you get that straight, you realize that you can't identify, you can't explain concepts in terms of any kind of mental object, because a concept is supposed to be something that intrinsically refers to an object, but nothing that's running through your head intrinsically refers to an object. There's got to be some way of explaining how this thing got connected up to the world. Well, you might be a kind of dualist here and say, well, maybe it's not, maybe it's kind of an exaggeration to say there's one world and it's a physical world. Maybe you might say, well, there are facts about meaning and reference, but everything is what it is and not another thing. You can't explain meaning and reference in terms of anything else. But we really do want to understand how should I say, it's not magic that this happens. Surely we can explain how a world that entirely consists of whirling collections of molecules can have meaning and understanding in it. We want, and quite two questions here are, as we framed it so far, are how is it that one part of the natural world can be about another, and how does it come about that there are standards of right and wrong in the natural world? So that's just to frame the question that we'll be looking at in the next 3 weeks or so. Is it clear what the question is? Not really. I see. Okay. What part of we have to explain how meaning and understanding can be part of the natural world? What part of that don't you understand? Oh, you do get that part. Oh, okay. But does everyone get that part? Okay. Well, that's all I was trying to get over. Is there something else? Well, to explain how it is in a world that's completely described by physics. In some sense, physics is a complete description of the world. Yeah. You might say the world has many mansions. You see what I mean? That you might say, well, there's a realm of meaning, there's a realm of moral values, there's a realm of thoughts and sensations, and I don't have any puzzle about how these are all related. The trouble is we do seem to think that they're all related. Yeah. So natural is something of the implication of the world is described by the natural sciences. Yeah. What could be plainer than that? You guys? Is there anything plainer than that? No? Okay. Okay? I mean, yeah, good. Yeah, that's another way to put the same thing. Yeah, the right and wrong, in some sense, that's normative, right? You ought to say the right thing, you ought not to say the wrong thing. Something like that. Truth and falsity aren't. It's not like, positive charge and negative charge, right? Sometimes you get a distinction that has no value to it. I mean, some electrical charges are positive, some are negative. It's not that the positive is better than negative. I mean, this is a joke. If you say you're into the negative circuits, you really ought to try to be more positive. Yes, you see what I mean? Or if a magnet has two poles, that's just a matter of indifference. Truth and falsity are not like that. When you form a belief, you're trying to get things right. When you make a statement, you're representing yourself as saying what's true. Yeah? So we aim at truth in a way we don't aim at falsity, and that seems to be part of what truth is what you aim at in belief and assertion. But where did that come from? How did that happen? Yeah, if the world is just described by physics, then how can right and wrong have come in? I'm not sure if I need to keep explaining this, or if you guys, are you feeling reasonably comfortable with that? Yeah. Okay, now this looks like a hard question, but twin Earth cases really make it seem like we're on the way already to addressing this. Remember the twin Earth scenario? So you get Earth with Oscar 1, you get twin Earth with Oscar 2, and on the two Oscars have the same physical states, but they're in different physical surroundings in the two planets, so the words they use have different meanings. That's right, that's all right, you remember the twin Earth cases, we're old stuff, yeah? Okay. So that means, if that's right, that means you can do a factoring here. You can factor Oscar 1 and Oscar 2's understanding of the words they're using into the bit that's inside their head and the bit that's outside their head. The bit that's inside the head isn't enough to constitute understanding or meaning, because Oscar 1 and Oscar 2 share that, but they nonetheless assign different meanings to the signs. Right? So the bit that's inside the head doesn't constitute meaning on its own. So there's going to be a second element, the bit that's different between Oscar 1 and Oscar 2, that's the bit that's outside their head. Yes? I mean, are you following me in the kind of arithmetic here? There are two bits. Stop me if this gets too technical. There are two bits. There's a bit inside the head and a bit outside the head. Neither of them on their own are going to be enough for meaning. Because what's inside your head doesn't give you enough for meaning. What's outside your head doesn't give you enough for meaning. But stick them together, and then you've got meaning. Yes? That's all right. So that shows you how you can start to analyze what understanding and meaning come to. Because you look separately at the bit inside the head and the bit outside the head. So you can analyze meaning in terms of these two elements. The bit inside, and something that's presumably causal or contextual or something like that. Something about what kind of environment you're in and how you're interacting with it. There is a bit outside the head. So we're on the way already, just by thinking about twin earth cases, to analysing meaning and understanding. And there is a question. Putnam set up twin earth for water and names for natural kinds generally. So you might wonder, well, can you really generalise this? I mean, how far does it go? So we're going to try, we are, just take my word for it, we are going to try this, analysing meaning in terms of these two components, the bit inside the head and the bit outside. But there's a question how far you can take this, because there's a question, how far does the reach of twin earth cases go? And you have twin earth cases for water, you have twin earth cases for tigers. What about terms referring to individual objects? Names like Gödel, terms like that cup. Can you have twin earth cases for them? What do you think? Yes, of course you can. Yes? I mean, here am I on earth, here's my double in twin earth. We both use the name Gödel, but we're referring to different people. Yes? Okay, what about artifacts like kettle or automobile? Yeah, earth automobiles look very like twin earth automobiles, but in twin earth, they're plants. They're mobile plants. Yeah, they grow in greenhouses. Yeah. That could happen, couldn't it? Right? That could happen, very good, right. Look, kettles. Well, they can be plants too. Oh, yeah. Exactly, that's right. They might be alive. You know, the twin earth kettles might talk. Right? I mean, we wouldn't be able to hear them. You see what I mean? But they might talk to each other or to the teapot. Or, you see what I mean? You can imagine it being quite different in earth and twin earth. What about colours or shapes? We talked about that a little bit. Colours? The colours all look just the same in twin earth, but not really the same. Yes, if you look kind of picture, that could happen. Different kind of spectral reflectances, different physics, producing colour appearances. That's right, physics is the same everywhere. Oh, what I mean is, those colour appearances in twin earth are being caused by different physical characteristics of the object. You see what I mean? The basic physical laws are just the same, but it's just that the kinds of light reflectances you get in twin earth are different to the kinds of light reflectances you get on earth. Though the upshot for us in our inner life is just the same. Yeah. So it can go quite far, right? The possibility of twin earth cases. What about social relations? What about friendship and love? Could it be different in earth? It seems just the same in earth and in twin earth, but really the real thing you're talking about is actually quite different. On earth, love has to do with what goes on in your amygdala. On twin earth, love has to do with what goes on in your frontal cortex. Yeah, feels just the same. There's quite different brain states. Yeah, yeah. An airplane or a kettle. Yep. It could really work from mud. Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's right. It wouldn't stop being an airplane in the earth sense if it was made of different stuff. Okay. Right. That's very good. Yeah. I think there's actually room for a lot of argument about certainly the last three lines there, each of them. I think there's a first-class case you can make. Yeah, and what I'm trying to make. But then you go back and look at it in detail. It's not so clear. So for just the kind of reason you're giving. The reason I said something living is that if it's an artifact, I mean, I think that the way we use kettle or airplane is something we made. It's something we made to meet our purposes. You see what I mean? Whether it's a kettle or a car or an airplane isn't a matter of can you actually boil water in it? I mean, for a kettle, yeah. Because you might not be able to boil water in it, but that's just because it's not a very good kettle. But if you see what I mean, right? But there's something about the idea that, well, the reason it was made in the first place was so you could boil water in it. That has to be true for it to be a kettle. Something like that. But if these things are plants, then the reason they were made in the first place was not so you could boil water in them. Or if they're alive, then they have their own purposes. Yeah. So it's not just that it's made of different stuff, it has a different function. You see what I mean? They're things that we're using as kettles, but they're not really kettles. Yeah. Let's suppose they're alive, right? But we don't realise they're alive. They work on a very slow timescale and very quietly. Yeah. So they talk to each other and to the other artifacts in twin earth. But humans never realise any of this. Yeah. But they have their own lives and their own designs. Yeah. They're not actually made in factories, so everybody supposes that they are. That's right, they call them kettles. They do use them to boil water. Yeah. They haven't realised that they're not really. That's not their function. Maybe this isn't going to work. Let me think about this. No, they'd say when the truth came out, yeah, when someone exposed the scandal of the so-called kettle factories, they'd say, "My God, all this time we thought kettles were artifacts made by us, but it turns out that kettles are alive." Right? That could happen. That could happen here. That's right. They didn't find it. Yeah, we made that discovery. You say, yeah, they're still kettles. That's right. But okay, so that's what happens in twin earth, right? They make the shocking discovery. Yeah. We are going to say, well, what they got in twin earth isn't a kettle. You must understand. They call it kettles. They call them kettles, but they're not really kettles. They're not kettles like our kettles. Yeah. Yeah. You certainly want to make a distinction between our kettles and what they call kettles. Yeah. Okay. This is fine. I don't want to. This is really meant to be a kind of exercise. Very good. Well, couldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Well, couldn't the basic physics of Earth and twin Earth be different? So that, when you've got a rigid triangular structure on Earth, yeah, then triangles are a very stable physical structure. Yeah, you use them in bridges and all that, right? Because you can't move a triangle as easy as you can square or something. Yeah. So suppose that on twin Earth, the basic, I mean, you're right when you say physics applies everywhere, but really there are local force fields, and I don't really have the technical vocabulary to explain it properly. But you're in a sector of the universe where the basic forces governing everything that goes on are really quite different. So the basic physical upshot is quite different. Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not saying this really works. Right? I want to make a first pass question, right, and say there really is an issue here and it's not obvious. How much depth you can get out of any of these questions is not clear to me. You want to. Yeah. Okay, so you're happy. I mean, I'll try to look up some of the. You're equally unhappy. Yes, yes. Yes, right. Math is the same, right? Right, very good. There are real issues here. I don't, on the one hand, I don't want to spend too long on it, but on the other hand, I don't want to just brush it aside because these are real questions. With geometry, though, there's a distinction between pure and applied geometry. Right? So pure geometry, presumably, is going to be just the same in every possible world. Applied geometry, that's what I meant about how the triangle is rigid. Applied geometry seems more like an empirical thing about what happens to be the case in the actual world. Yeah. So that'll be the first pass answer. The next pass is trying to really make sense of alternative applied geometries, which is, yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Okay. Yes? When you're moving from one, you mean like a spot case or a Madagascar case, or a reference shift case. Straight off, it's not. You can turn it into a reference shift case by supposing someone who travels backwards and forwards between Earth and twin Earth. Yeah, so it can become a reference shift case. So what you'd be saying is, if the kettles in twin Earth are quite different to the kettles here, then as you move backwards and forwards, slowly, the dominant source of your information relating to kettles will shift. On Earth it was the artifact, and twin Earth it was the living creature. Yeah. So that dominant source will shift. So you can turn it into a reference shifting case. Is that what you mean? That's right. That's right. It is different. That's right. Does that shift the meaning? Is that a way of thinking how the meaning is different? Yes, well, yeah. I mean, you've got the picture. What's inside the head is just the same. What's outside the head is changing, and as that changes, your reference changes. Yeah, and what that shows is the meaning can't be identified entirely with what's inside the head. Yeah. Yep.
It seems to me that in most twin Earth cases, even in like natural terms like water, the words used on twin Earth aren't the same words. I mean, they sound the same.
Right.
Like, in the beginning of the class, we were talking about Freddie Puddle.
Yes.
You might say, well, John is John, but not necessarily true.
Right.
John might work with people.
Yes.
So it seems to me that in that case, the difference in meaning is for the issue of water on twin Earth and water on Earth. Maybe the signs are specifically different too, but
That's an unreasonable way to put it. I mean, Frege said, in a perfect language, each sign would be associated with just one sense. Yeah, and that's a way of expressing it. I'm going to count words, so if there's a different meaning associated with them, that's a different word. Yeah, and you might try and make that explicit by saying, by adding a subscript or saying, well, in this sense or something. That's perfectly fine. But the only thing there is that it's a very rich notion of same word you're using. As you say, it's not just the sound or the shape. You're appealing to facts to do with the meaning of the reference to explain what you mean by saying the same word.
so is it then that we can't object to one of our because to say that they're different words, you always have to say that they have meaning?
That's right. You're basically accepting his point. By saying in that situation, I'm going to call these different words. Well, yeah.
Like the word is not fixed by the external stuff, or yeah, it's not really fixed by the external stuff because they're different words. You have different factors.
Oh, do you mean the causal history of the word is different? Okay, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, you could say the word water has a long and rich history in the English language, and over there we have a long and rich history in twin English. Yep. So they are different words. Okay, that's fair enough. You could count words that way, and that's different to counting them in terms of their meanings. That's counting them in terms of things like their own causal origins as words, looking back into etymological history. That's fair enough, but in that sense, difference of word is no barrier to the two words having the same meaning. You have different words in Earth and in twin Earth, but they could mean exactly the same. That's right, that's right. But it's not the mere difference of word that implies that. I'm going to give an example in a moment, okay? So, I say you can have twin Earth cases whenever there's lookalikes, right? If you have something that looks just like a kettle or an airplane, but isn't really a kettle or an airplane, then you can have a twin Earth case where the lookalikes have, what's the word I want? Triumph, are in the majority, yeah? You see what I mean? On Earth, you've got the regular thing, and you get a few lookalikes. On twin Earth is mostly what we call lookalikes. Yeah, so you can always set up a twin Earth case when there's lookalikes. So I think the clear stop point here will be words for psychological sensations, terms like headache. You get a headache in Earth, and you get a headache in twin Earth. Well, if they feel just the same, if the lookalikes for headaches in that twin Earth, then those really are headaches. I mean, there's no more to a headache than the way it feels. So if it feels just the same way, then it is a headache. It's really a headache. So I think the thing about ringers just comes, so far as I can see anyway, the thing about ringers comes to a definite stop with words for headaches, or yeah, a pang of, a yen, a pang, or a throb of bliss. If these feel just the same in Earth as in twin Earth, then they are just the same. Yep. Yeah. Right, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Although fed particle, absolutely, yes, right. Yeah, I agree that could happen. But remember, the word here is not a word for the physical basis of the thing. We're talking about the sensation itself, not its physical basis. So it's true that the word, that if you're referring to the physical basis, that could vary between Earth and twin Earth. But what you're doing when you talk about the feeling is you're trying to peel off the sensation produced by that underlying basis. And that's the thing that you can't make sense of it varying. I mean,